everybody, Mike Buck here with AK Sled Shed. I want to talk to you today about traveling on frozen bodies of water. In Alaska, we've got rivers and lakes and the ocean up in the Arctic that people travel every day. And once things freeze up, it's it's the open highway. It's the way people get around in Alaska and visit each other in different villages and travel. And traveling on frozen bodies of water can be really, really dangerous. So we want to make sure everybody's as safe as possible out there and taking precautions into consideration when you go out and do that kind of travel. We lose about 14 people average every year in Alaska with snow machine accidents. And we lose an average of about 2 of those 14 are in avalanches, and unfortunately about 6 are lost by drowning every year. They go through the ice, can't get out, drowned, or die of hypothermia. So it's a very serious concern, and we want to make sure when we're out there we're taking the proper precautions about traveling on frozen bodies of water. You want to make sure that it's late enough in the season that the ice is thick enough to travel on, but you're always going to have those situations where there's open water that opens up unexpectedly. So you want to be cautious of that and be ready for it. If you would happen to go through the ice, it's a very traumatic experience, and your body goes into shock and you can't get a breath of air. And a lot of times people drown because of that, because they panic, they take in water and end up drowning. So if you do happen to go in the water, you don't want to panic. You want to just kind of wait until that cold seeps in before you frantically try to get out of the water. So if you do go in the water, you want to make sure that you kick with your feet as hard as you can. Try to get back up on top of the ice. A lot of times that ice can be slippery and very difficult to get up on top of. So you want to get your body parallel with the surface, kick, and try to scoot your way on top of the ice like a seal. A very good idea is to carry ice picks with you. In my sleeve of my coat here, I've got ice picks that I carry when I'm out traveling the rivers. So these, I bought these at Eagle Enterprises in Anchorage, and it's just a little plastic device that has a spike inside of it. When you stab that down into the ice, you can get a grip and pour yourself up on top. String to keep them together, and I keep a little piece of that string hanging out so I can get a hold of it very easily with my gloves on if I need to. So I have those in my sleeve all the time. This outfit that I'm wearing is made by FXR, and it actually has what they call their FAST system, flotation assist technology. And with this suit, if I went into the water, it'll float you up to 2 hours. So, if you're doing a lot of river travel, it's a good idea to consider that. FXR has that technology, and also Climb has put it in one of their coats this year. So you might want to take a look at those. If you're especially in western Alaska where you're traveling all the time on rivers, it's really a good idea. And also FXR, all of their kids' gear has that flotation assist technology in it. So, if you're out there pulling kids on a sled between villages, it's a really good idea for the kids to have that kind of material on, just in case you would go through the ice. I also have a set of ice picks here that I just made. You just take a dowel rod, and what I did is I just put a little screw in the end of it, and then filed it off with a grinder, made a sharp point, and then I made a little cap for it so I don't stab myself when I've got it inside of my coat. So just something to consider to have on hand. You want some kind of a sharp object that you can stab into the ice to pull yourself up on top, because when it's super slippery like that, it's really, really difficult to get yourself out of the water. You want to make sure that you're not traveling alone. It's always good to have a partner with you so that they can help in case of emergency. I always carry a throw bag on my machine when I'm doing a lot of traveling on rivers, around rivers, and it's also in my crevasse rescue kit when I'm doing glacier riding as well. So I always have a throw bag available in case somebody goes into the water that I can deploy very quickly without getting myself into a difficult situation. It's also a good idea to not panic if you end up in a situation where all of a sudden you're in overflow, or you have open water in front of you and there's no way you can stop. You'd end up sliding and going into the water. It's a good idea to not panic, give it the gas, water skip across to the other side to a safe zone. That's it's a skill that you really want to work on, where it's safe and you're not gonna sink your machine. So pick a little spot where you can test out your skills in water skipping, and it's always a good idea to have that backup just in case of an emergency if you get caught in a situation. There's been a lot of people that have gone into the ice where if they were just given it the gas, they could have water skipped across to a safe zone on the other side. So you want to have that skill. You want to make sure that you're looking well out ahead of you to look for any potential danger zones or areas of open water. Some areas you want to make sure that you avoid is a lot of times when a river makes a curve, the outside of the turn, the water will pile up in those areas, and it'll be deeper water and more potential for open water, so you want to be careful of those. You want to watch out for places where the snow has drifted down across the ice, because that can actually sometimes insulate the water underneath, and there'll be a hollow spot underneath. So you want to be a little bit careful about traveling up onto a drift to get off of the river. You want to scope it out and make sure that it's safe and there's no potential of hollow spots underneath. When you're traveling, a lot of times the inside of the curve is the best spot to be, because that water does tend to go to the outside of the turn and pile up and be deeper in those zones. So the inside of corners is usually a good path to look at and potentially take. Where the river's wide and braided, a lot of times is a good place to make those crossings if you need to make those crossings, because the water tends to be shallower in those wide open braided locations. Areas where the water is turbulent, it tends to bubble up and melt the ice. A lot of times it'll be very thin in those areas or non-existent, so watch out for open water in those areas where it might be turbulent water. And then on lakes, you want to make sure you're very careful at the inlet and the outlet of a lake, because those are areas that oftentimes don't freeze or freeze with very thin ice. So remember, everybody, when you're out there traveling on frozen bodies of water, just be cautious, have a plan, protect each other, travel with a partner, and have a fun, safe winter this year. And also thanks to Daryl for the nice video shot. Good job.